What up everybody? So I know we've recently done a Guardian video already, but what we're going to do today is I'm not going to be speedrunning, but I am going to showcase what is, as far as we are aware, the speedrunning build for the Guardian. It's kind of the best, strongest AoE clear options that I'm aware of. I say we because we as the speedrunning community have talks about builds and such, and this tends to be the one that gets used the most. Normally we would pick something kind of consistent like black powder or dexterity. There aren't many upgrades at the start which are going to matter too much. Strong arm is a decent option if you're going to consistently use heavy weapons throughout all of it, but the build itself doesn't strongly rely on heavy weapons. Or strongly rely on any weapons really. It's not as good in Hero 6 as in Standard, because the build does kind of fall off in Hero 6, but as most of my videos recently have been Hero 6, that's what we're going to carry on with. So let's pick Strong Arm. We've got Mortar at the start, so that's a good starting point, and let's hit it off. So when speedrunning, it's really important to kind of know how many shots you're going to be killing things with, how many shots it's going to take to kill things with your starting weapon. It's better English, thank you. So I know that the small bots it takes 1, turrets it takes 1, and it's 2 for these pawns. And yeah, it's important to know that, because A, you don't waste shots, and B, so you know that if you've got a shot that's on its way to killing an enemy, you don't waste time checking to see if it has killed it or anything like that. You can just move on. Now sometimes you get it wrong, but for the most part, yeah, it's how you're going to speedrun this game, not on S%. Gonna head bump this. Now speedrunning Hero 6 is very different to speedrunning Standard because of elites. You reach XP quicker, or XP rank quicker if you have more elites than not, but it also slows you down in killing them, so you have to kind of play it by ear as you're going through. I'm going to take flare gun here because there's no real consistent way of proccing mark in the build that we're going to be doing. We're not going to be getting much crit, so French fries, as much use as it seems like it probably would give, aren't going to be great. Stone block feels like it'd be bad because of the movement speed penalty, and hey, speedrunning you're going to go quick, but the damage bonus you get and the fire rate, if you are able to get away with the negatives, it's huge how many bonuses you get from doing it this way. I will point out, I am pretty bad with this build. I am not a Guardian player. I really struggle to make this build play safe, and there are people who are better at it, but I'm trying to showcase it. So we're going to go Elemental Bubble, and then you're going to go Burn. Now this means that we now do explosive AoE damage. The damage and range of it depend on how much you fully charged it. A lot of the time you're going to want to fully charge it, so you have to kind of time your room clears around that. We're going to run in here, stand here, AoE that. So that killed both the small ones with one AoE hit. You're going to want to always run in, try and hit as many as you can with it, and then you're just going to rinse and repeat. Now the reason that it's kind of risky is because of, it's kind of the first 2 maps of the main risk because of the explosive barrels and suicide bots. They can really mess up your rotations and quite often deal damage to you because you're dropping your shield rather than just using it as safety. And you can see we're already hitting like 300 damage with our mortar on crits, almost 200 without, and that's because of stone block and strong arm at the start. It's a very, very potent combination. We'll take curling stone because it's free AoE damage, or it's not free because obviously we've just had to buy it, but it's AoE damage just for head bonking, so you don't have to have ammo, you don't have to do anything specific. and it's just extra AoE damage, which is always quite important. This build is more a wave clear build than it is a boss damaging build, so your boss killing times are going to be low, but you're going to try and make up for it with sheer mob clearing speed. And come in here, we're going to explode on that. Unfortunately he got away. I wanted to head bonk him, because if you manage to head bonk them then they're going to be stunned for a second. Okay, that's why I'm seeing 300 damage. Our mortar has last shot. So last shot deals 100% increased damage, which is why we're getting such high damage spikes. We can take paintbrush here. It's not... melee damage isn't going to be a huge part of our build, but it may end up being better DPS for us to keep meleeing things. We'll take Pyro Bubble, so burn damage is increased by 20%. One of the kind of more solid damage bonuses that Guardian actually gets, and obviously that damage bonus is now giving our melee attacks 20% more melee damage as well, so it's not too shabby. I'm going to plonk down here and explode on all of those. See what we get. You pretty much never want to take Atomic Mushroom when doing this build. It's just... the damage bonus is nice, but the decrease in explosion radius does decrease the explosion radius of your shield. So it makes it harder to deal damage to as many targets. So it tends to be a DPS loss. Then our next perk, we want Solar Panel. Solar Panel and Pyro Bubble are an amazing combination, and it's where a lot of our damage is going to come from. So obviously you rely on putting Safety Bubble up and then taking it away again to trigger the Pyro Bubble, and then every time you kill anything with that combination they're going to drop healing cells. Those healing cells are going to give you more cooldown reduction on your Safety Bubble, so you're going to be able to do more Pyro Bubbles, which is just going to rinse and repeat over and over and over again. So you can see the combo and where it's going. We kill all those small things basically with the burn. Obviously I did clear them up, but in a speedrun situation you probably wouldn't. You would just rely on the fact that it is going to kill them with the burn. And on standard, as I said before, this is even easier because things have less health. It can actually be a pretty quick run. Actually not up there with the quickest runs, but it can still be pretty quick. Pop this on him and then just melee him. It's going to be more DPS than trying to mortar him. And again, we're just going to keep rotating around the room, looking for where there's the most enemies we can hit. And repeat. I think the world record for Hero 6 Guardian is just under 20 minutes. I'm going to take Viking Helmet here. I can't remember what it is for standard. I think it's like 14 minutes or something. So we're going to want to keep marking him, and meleeing him is actually going to be more damage than mortaring him, but you can't safely melee him the same way you can with recon. You are going to have to back off. Popping the shield damage on him isn't that vital because it's not great boss DPS, but it's something. I'm just going to headbump him and kill him. Now we take the maximum charge. So Pyro Bubble reaches maximum charge, it does 50% more damage. decent. I think at the moment at this level it's 90 damage, I think I saw. So you go to what, 120 odd damage or something? But 83 on a half charge, 181, so almost 200 damage on a full charge. Pretty decent. Bonsai Tree is nice because it means that the shield can now crit. And it means mortar can crit and your melees can crit. So all round decent pickup. Don't have cells to upgrade the mortar. Walk in here, pop there. Again. And again. That's what the build is going to look like from here on out. We're just going to basically just keep cycling this damage. Getting as much AoE down as we can. Because of solar panel is going to keep our shield propped up and charged between each area, so that we can then just rinse and repeat it over and over again. And charge it up, charge it up. And if you manage to get like Party Popper or anything like that, anything that increases the number of healing cells dropped, that just makes the number of the cooldown you're getting even better if it does proc. I got hit once there. We're not doing much marking as I said before, but we do have a flare gun and we will hopefully be marking bosses, so it's just a little bit of an increased damage to them. I'm going to go over the top there because it's a bit quicker. Pop a shield twice in the middle, kills pretty much everything. None of those are any good. Because we've got stone block, we do still want to be trying to use our weapon. It has been debated in the community if running melee guardian is quicker. I'm still not 100% sure if you want to be running the build into melee or if there are alternative and better options. So I'd normally go line breaker here, more movement, more armor, so you can be more aggressive, and it's more damage if you've got Viking helmet, which we do. So performing head bonks or bashing things gives you 20% movement speed and 20% armor. And this is kind of where the builds tend to vary. If you're going more melee based, line breaker is amazing. If you've got Viking helmet, line breaker is amazing. If you don't have, if you're not doing either of those, it's not as good. And then you have like warning device could be a good pickup because you're inevitably going to be taking damage because of the way you're playing, and then you're getting a little bit more AoE damage. So it's debatable which is best. I'm going to take line breaker because that tends to be the option I go for. But this is what I've said in my last Guardian video, or at least I think I said it in the last Guardian video. You don't have that many kind of Guardian specialists. You have plenty of people that main all the other classes, but there's not that many people that main Guardians. So it's difficult to pull from any particular amount of expertise when it comes to them and what is best. You can theorise on paper and you can kind of vaguely work out what is probably best, but it still does need some playing around with. Oh, there we go. I was like, we didn't get S, but we did. So you can see it kills smaller things really nice and fast. Bigger things it's a bit more debatable about, but increase, grab a candle, upgrade our mortar. It would have been good to have something like minigun in case we get Cater Coaster, because he's not particularly fun to fight with the mortar. Neither are buffed shields, they're never fun to fight. Oh. I for some reason thought that was going to kill it in one shot. Scrap recycling is really good if you've got something like an arbalist, because it means you can just continuously be shooting. It's not as good on mortar, so I'm not going to prioritize it here, but it kind of depends what weapon and what build you're doing exactly as to which upgrade you'd pick here. I'm going to take Eye of the Tiger, mostly because I'm concerned at the moment with the build that I'm running. If I get Cater Coaster, then I'm going to really struggle to fight it. But with the Tiger upgrade, I will be able to just jump on its head and consistently melee it, and hopefully kill it that way. The issue with that plan is the way that I can't get up there. Oh well. That's one of the harder ones to kill because they because I've got mortar, so it's hard enough to hit rails. The height of it means you can't get onto it very easily to do the normal railbot kill of just sliding into it. I could have rocket jumped up to it if I was quicker, and that's what I was planning to do, but I wanted to try and stun it first. And it's not in a consistent spot to melee, unfortunately. But anyway, as I was saying about Cater Coaster, so yeah, I'm probably going to, if I get Cater Coaster, I'm just going to try and ride on it and kill it as if I was a recon. The problem is, normally you would just kind of shield everything as Guardian and then use solar panel to just tank your way through a boss, which funnily enough you pretty much 100% can do. But because of where the health spawns out of Cater Coaster, you actually can't do it on him. So he's the one that you want to melee the most out of all the bosses, but he's the one that is got the worst setup for meleeing him. So we've picked up Lifeguard Jacket, which will increase our burn damage quite significantly, but make us less tanky. Now if we keep managing to head bonk and melee things consistently, it shouldn't matter too much because we're getting 20% armor every time we, not every time we do it, but if we keep that buff up, we've got 20 bonus armor. So net value of 0. This is another reason I like to take line breakers, because while your bubble is up, you get more AoE damage from head bonking things. You could take blue screen, it can save you some time in a speed run, but it's very RNG based. So it depends if you want to rely on RNG or if you want to try and be more consistent. We're going to take that, so every time we head bonk while we've got the shield up, which will probably be fairly often accidentally, even if you're like trying to go for it, you will still get a fair few like accidental ones, so it's fairly good to go for. Just hit those and kill that, there we go. It's not amazing damage, but the thing is, it's like damage for things that you'd be doing anyway, so you're not really losing anything for having it. Your movement speed gets so quick with this build that it's really nice just to get into the middle of everything and explode consistently. I'm going to try and keep our speed boost a little bit here. So because we've got the paintbrush, so we're doing burn melee. It's not a terrible idea to just melee him down. You probably could be a little bit quicker with a gun, but as I say, because there's no guiding experts, I'm not 100% sure exactly which is the fastest. If you had bonk hammer at that point, then melee is almost definitely quicker. But it's so safe and so consistent meleeing the boss down when you've got 35% increase attack speed and solar panel, because it just, every time you're meleeing him, you're knocking your shield back up, so it's really nice. Yeah, I'm actually just going to grab Party Popper, Claws and Bugnet here for some extra damage. Just got enough cells for everything, which is really nice. Run into the room. Do some head bonking. Failed to melee him for some reason. Sorry for the car alarm if you can hear that. Again, here it's going to be preference, but my preference is bonk hammer. I think it's the most consistent option. Because we've got a heavy weapon and stone block, it might be better to have built more towards that for a speedrun. As I say, I'm kind of showcasing the build in general rather than item specifics for the build, so obviously always take it slightly with a grain of salt. You can work out what's best for the situation, and these builds are just a guideline, not a strict rule. An enemy under the floor there. I hope that doesn't bite me later. Explode on him. And then him while waiting for the shield to charge up. You can see the bonk hammer's doing fairly decent damage. Let's kill both of those. Because you're moving so quickly with this build, it doesn't even really lose much time travelling to an enemy, which is pretty nice. No idea where he went, so I'm just going to go kill his friend here. Now, it's not as much damage as Recon Melee, but it is still decent, and it doesn't play that different. Upgrade. This is a great upgrade if you're doing Guardian speedrun in co-op and someone's using stunned or frozen, because it means your damage starts to scale ridiculously high. But unfortunately we're not running cryo or stunning shield because it just doesn't do enough damage to make up the difference, and we're not stunning any other way, and there's no way of making your hammer trigger frozen or stun, so pretty much never pick this. If I remember correctly, the other bonk hammer is really good. So bonk hammer attack speed while you're under your shield, 50% increase. If you recall when we were fighting the Cater Coaster, not Cater Coaster, sorry, it was Judge Ball we had. While fighting Judge Ball, we were able to consistently melee him and keep our shield up pretty much the whole time. That's what we're going to want to do on the last boss as well. So having increased attack speed while the shield is up, but it just means we're going to be getting more health orbs dropping, which just means we have the shield staying up even more consistently. So it just, yeah, all doubles up nicely. Down here to clear, and then the exits. So normally in a speed run you wouldn't be clearing those extra side rooms for the items. I did point out, obviously I'm not showcasing speedrun route or a speedrun itself at the moment, I'm just showcasing the build. Hop on that, hop on that, this should be free to kill, and then we've got S. There we go, nice little run so far. Hopefully we will make it to the end. So I'm going to swap mortars out, just because it will do more damage. I'll take frog prints just in case we do take a bit of damage. It just buffs our movement speed, which again buffs our damage. I'm not a huge fan of taking frog prints, but I have been taking it a lot more recently. Lucky warm up, blasts, yeah, that's all fine. I don't need to re-roll that. It's also got rocket jump, which you can use as another quick AoE option. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy. With strong arm again for another damage buff, even though we're not using the mortar as much as we were. Did you really jump out of that? The main issue with this area is just how spread out enemies always are, so it's always kind of difficult to just nuke them all down in one go. So it gets a little bit slower at this point. That was a lot of damage that I didn't really want to be taken. Oh, that's the wrong way, we're going to go this way. Can you come down please, sir? It'd be much easier to mortar you if you did. Never mind. Jump right up to the top. That room's fast becoming one of my favourites because that trick is just kind of nice to pull off. Unfortunately I got hit there because I was coughing, so we're not really paying attention to where the laser was going, but there you go. No Shinobi, you weren't very stealthy with them. Shinobi. Flyer. Everything's just so spread out, it's so difficult to efficiently kill these rooms, it's kind of annoying. Charging up my shield while killing him with melee and then kill everything else around me while doing it, and being very safe about it. And then charge up, jump in, head bonk things for more explosions, rinse and repeat the shield. Doesn't really matter what we take here, it's not going to be much benefit either way. Just try and get to the boss nice and quick. It is such a shame that the bosses take a long time to kill with this setup, because it's always really annoying to get to the end, feel like you're doing really well, and then have a boss take like 20 minutes to kill. It's not quite that bad, but it's pretty damn bad. We're going to rocket jump at the start, we're going to mark him, we're going to trigger the shield, and now I'm just going to melee him on top of him for as long as we can. Off to the side, we can't hurt you as much there, and kill him as he kills us. That was a bit clutch, but there we go. So that is the speedrun build. Obviously, again, you would normally actually miss a lot of the rooms that I went in if I was doing an actual speedrun, and it would save a lot of time if you did do that. But even as it is, amusingly, despite the fact that I wasn't trying to beat the world record, that is now the fastest Guardian Hero 6 clear time in the game. That's the new world record.